right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, a local prosecutor caught on camera offering to dismiss charges for sex acts.
Cold pattern and the cold air gets reinforced as we head through the week. See what that means for your weekend.
But first tonight, parents just met about a St. Louis school tested for radioactive waste.
What are we supposed to do as a community? How do we fix this problem?
How the school board is explaining contradictory test results.
Right now, Hazelwood school leaders are working to make sense of two conflicting reports concerning that radioactive contamination. Good evening, I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. They're now 3.5 hours into a school board meeting where parents are waiting to learn what will happen next. Our Brent Solomon just stepped out of the meeting to bring us an update. Brent.
At issue right now is whether Jana Elementary School is safe to reopen. Just a few moments ago, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers told the school board and the public, yes, the school is safe. But moments before that, the Boston Chemical Data Corps, which conducted its own study of Jana Elementary, told that same board they would not send their children back there. And so now, that begs the question, what do we do now? When the Boston Chemical Data Corps visited Jana Elementary in Florissant back in August, they said the Hazelwood School District was cooperative. But that's when they say they found high levels of radioactive contamination, prompting the school to cancel in-person learning. Well, that's when the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers conducted its own study, later finding that there are no alarming levels of contamination. Two conflicting reports, leaving a school board now forced to make a decision. Listen as one school board member questions the Boston Chemical Group.
If the radioactive activity is in Coldwater Creek, and when we get a substantial rain, it moves, it's got to move someplace other than Coldwater Creek.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes.
So are we saying that other communities should be concerned?
Communities that are downstream of the contaminated locations and communities that are flooded by Coldwater Creek, other federal agencies tell us this is a concern because this is how contamination spreads.
Now, there is one thing that both groups agreed on tonight. The Boston Chemical Data Corps said it used an X-ray analysis when it conducted its research. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers said they did not. And right now, within just the past 10 minutes, a third-party group that the school board hired to conduct another independent investigation just got up to present its findings. We're going to hop back in, and we'll keep you posted on what develops tonight. I'm live in North St. Louis County. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Less than 2 hours ago, Donald Trump made it official. He is running for president again in 2024.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Trump filed the necessary paperwork for a presidential run. During tonight's speech, he touted big Republican wins in the midterms, although some in the party are blaming him for lackluster results. Right after the announcement, President Biden tweeted out a video showing clips of January 6th and Charlottesville, saying Donald Trump failed America. Tonight, the I-Team has uncovered disturbing cell phone video used as evidence against a municipal prosecutor in Jefferson County.
The video shows a woman being pressured into a sex act in that same prosecutor's office. Our Christine Byers obtained the video today after it was entered into evidence and brings us the latest on this case.
The woman in this video was facing multiple ordinance violations when she met Jefferson County Municipal Prosecutor Ike Crabtree in his office. Just 56 seconds into that meeting, Crabtree asked her if she was wearing a wire. Minutes later, he asked her to show him her body. A warning, this video could be troubling for some viewers.
I can be a very valuable friend.
In March of 2021, the woman in this case recorded her encounter with Ike Crabtree on her cell phone. 4 minutes in, he hit on her.
You are just breathtaking.
Well, thank you.
So I don't know if you're like picking up when I'm like laying down, but I mean, if you're not interested in that, that's cool. No strings attached. I'm just,
you didn't have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So,
of course.
like, anything, I have to be, like, super
Yeah.
professional on my phone, because he goes through my phone,
Yes,
and,
of
like, all
course.
kinds of
Same
stuff.
here. I'm married.
The victim then tells Crabtree she won't have sex.
I mean, I'm not, like, a prostitute or escort.
No,
or
of course,
anything.
no, of course not. I'm trying to help you. You've got kids.
Right. Okay.
I just didn't know if you wanted to do anything on the side, and if not, it's no big deal.
7 minutes in, Crabtree starts kissing the victim.
I'm going to be your friend forever.
At the end of the video, Crabtree's face can be seen for a split second.
I'm going to dismiss your cases.
This summer, Crabtree admitted to lying to the FBI about the encounter and to depriving the victim of her right to bodily integrity. He'll be sentenced in December. To see the video and to read the victim's impact statement, go to ksdk.com.
Several groups rallied at the state capitol in Jefferson City today to oppose the execution of Kevin Johnson. He's scheduled to die by lethal injection later this month for the 2005 murder of Kirkwood Police Sergeant Bill McEntee. Johnson was 19 at the time. Last week, Johnson filed an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court to halt his execution after the Missouri Supreme Court declined to grant a stay. Tonight, concrete barriers are in place in the center lane of South Grand in the Dutchtown neighborhood. The move comes nearly 2 weeks after 2 people were killed and several others were hurt in a multi-car crash. Just a few hours ago, the mother of a teenager injured in that crash gave an emotional interview only to our Robert Townsend. Robert?
Mike, a big question is, will the concrete barriers put the brakes on the speeders and prevent car crashes on South Grand? The mother of one of the victims sure hopes so.
Almost lost my oldest child.
And that's why tears streamed down Janice Moss's face. Moss says on November 3rd, her 19-year-old daughter, Bernice Higgins, was riding in a black Jeep with several of her friends on South Grand near St. Mary's High School. Within moments, the unimaginable happened near this light pole that's now a memorial.
It's revisiting it, the trauma all over again. And it's kind of hard to talk about.
Witnesses told police the male driver sped down the street in the center lane, clipped the back of another car, and caused that driver to hit other vehicles. Police said the driver then lost control of the Jeep, rolled several times, and crashed into parked cars before landing on its side.
I feel like it was a terrible choice on his behalf.
2 of her daughter's friends died.
And my heart goes out to those mothers who lost their child.
Her daughter was thrown from a back seat of the Jeep. Bernice suffered multiple injuries, including a fractured pelvis.
Just a few days ago, they brought her from intensive care.
Bernice can sit up in a hospital bed, talk and touch her loved ones, but she cannot walk right now. Her mom's just grateful she survived.
This was a miracle. I said, glory be to God.
On Monday, 25th Ward Alderman Shane Cohn had the city's street department to put up multiple barriers along this section of South Grand in hopes of preventing future tragedies.
It's been really crazy around here. There's lots of crazy drivers, and I'm hoping that the barriers will help slow people down.
I think they're going to make a difference.
Moss tells us her daughter still has a long road to recovery. Alderman Cohn says the barriers are a short-term solution to the traffic problems on Grand. I also reached out to St. Louis Police, and tonight they are still looking for the driver of that Jeep. He ran off after the crash.
Tonight, the community came out to support Central VPA and Collegiate SMB High School, still reeling from a deadly school shooting. 2 McDonald's restaurants, one in North City, the other in South City, held a fundraiser tonight. Among the patrons tonight, Central Jr., who was a student of Mrs. Kushka, the teacher killed in last month's shooting.
My body, my mind, and my spirit have really come to peace with this. I finally have accepted what has happened, and I think I'm ready, not to forget, but I'm ready to move on so that way I can get on with my life, because I'm sure they wouldn't want me to just be stuck and stopping right now.
20% of sales are being donated to the SLPS Foundation. The money will be used to extend counseling and care to students and staff. Tonight, several North County first responders are being called heroes.
Yeah, they pulled a man from a neighborhood pond yesterday, and their heroic actions were caught on camera. New tonight, our Laura Barczewski spoke with the rescuers who say they're thankful they got there just in time.
Around 4:30 Monday afternoon, St. Louis County Police and Blackjack firefighters were called out to a North County neighborhood near the intersection of Vale and Fleur du Bois, where a man crashed his truck into a pond and couldn't get out.
We got there pretty quickly, and the vehicle was still above water, and you could see that a subject was inside. He was moving, but not making any attempts to get out. So I don't know if there was some medical issues or what was going on there, but we immediately geared down to go in and get him, and then we realized the fire department was gearing up into cold water gear.
All of this was caught on St. Louis County Police body cameras. Blackjack Fire Acting Captain Scott Keeban says that's when 2 firefighters in wetsuits jumped into the pond.
Pretty much right when we put him in the water, we saw the truck lean forward and it started going down quick. So luckily our guys were able to get there quickly, and they broke out the back window.
But getting the victim out of the water wasn't easy.
The firefighter went down to grab him. The victim went underwater. The firefighter went underwater. The firefighter pops up for a second, screams help, and then myself and the other officer just jump into the water, and we start swimming out to aid.
They say as a team, they were able to bring the man to shore and get him to the hospital.
That's our job, is to help people. I don't know one officer that hears help and doesn't run towards who needs help, you know. And unfortunately, sometimes and most of the time, we don't get to help as much as we want to. So this was a great outcome to see him make it through it.
St. Louis County Police say that if you ever find yourself in a similar situation where you're trapped in your car and trying to get out before it goes underwater, they want you to pull the headrest out. Use the metal part here to smash out the window, and hopefully you can escape before they even arrive. Reporting in North St. Louis County, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
The man is expected to be okay. St. Louis County Police say they still don't know how the truck ended up in the pond.
Show me the money. Sharing your salary is taboo, but not anymore.
And it's fair and it's the right thing to do.
Tonight, the I-Team looks into the push in Missouri to close the gender pay gap.
More cold weather building in Canada, and it's headed our way. When this cold pattern eases, and what travel looks like ahead of Thanksgiving next week.
Tonight, President Biden is assuring Poland the country has the support of the U.S. after an explosion near the Ukraine border killed 2 people. Just a few hours ago, the Polish government convened an emergency security and defense meeting and agreed to increase its military readiness. While it was not immediately clear what caused the blast, the explosion followed an intense wave of Russian airstrikes on cities across Ukraine.
Talking about how much you're paid is typically frowned upon. Now, research done right here in St. Louis shows salary secrecy widens the pay gap for both women and racial minorities.
In fact, Missouri is at the top when it comes to men making more than women. Tonight, the I-Team's Paula Vassan shows us what's being done to change that.
Probably be another $500 or $600 a day.
Charles Washington wears a lot of hats to earn about $160,000 a year. He's a credit counselor. He's a day trader.
The name of the game is to make much profit as you can.
And he owns a trucking business. He left his job as a pharmacy technician after learning his salary didn't match others with the same job.
I was angry at first, really angry. A student coming in off the street was making about $5,000 more than me yearly.
He had the same certifications as the new hire.
But you didn't have the same pay?
No, I didn't. I put in time. I missed holidays. I worked extra hours.
He believes others may have been unknowingly lowballed even more. Researchers at Washington University in St. Louis tell the I-Team pay secrecy can widen pay gaps, especially for minorities and women. Some of these gaps are the worst in our area.
New research released just this year from PayScale shows 2 cities in our area have the biggest gaps in gender pay in the nation. The study compared people with the same job titles, same experience. In St. Louis and Kansas City, for every $100 a man makes, a woman makes $3 less. Over a lifetime in the workforce, that can add up to thousands in losses.
It's a problem cities and states around the country are addressing with pay transparency laws. Take Colorado, where a law passed last year forces employers to disclose salary ranges in job postings. Lawmakers in New York City passed similar legislation 2 weeks ago. A survey this month by Resume Builder shows 92% of workers support salary transparency laws. 61% say laws will decrease unfair wage gaps. Stacey Heller is with Resume Builder.
So we've seen since the start of COVID that work-life balance became really important. So the next step that workers want to take is, now I want equal pay.
And it's fair and it's the right thing to do.
State Senator Stephen Roberts wants Missouri to lead the way. In February, he filed Senate Bill 1137. It didn't make it out of committee. Roberts plans to refile his bill in December. If it becomes law, it would force employers in Missouri to share salary ranges when hiring.
So the real question is, how do we keep and retain employees here? And if you're lowballing your folks that much, I don't see how you keep talent in this region, and we'll continue to see the population in the region decline. And we need policies like this bill to keep and retain that type of talent.
If this gets passed, how would we know that companies are telling the truth? Who's holding the companies accountable?
There is a penalty provision, so they could be fined no less than $1,000 up to $5,000 for each infraction.
In the end, he believes removing pay secrecy is a win for employees and employers.
It cuts out all the folks who are unnecessarily applying for a job that they were never going to take in the first place.
It's about efficiency, retention, and fairness, says Washington, something he's keeping in mind when he starts hiring.
Will you be posting the pay ranges for the job?
Of course, of course.
Even though there's no law in Missouri to do it?
I will. Everybody should get compensated for their work.
Resistance to pay transparency often comes from the business community. More transparency can mean higher salaries, which means more expense. We've reached out to both the state and federal chambers of commerce to find out their position on pay transparency laws. No response by our deadline.
If you have a tip for the 5 on Your Side I-Team, call us at 314-444-5231 or email 5onyourside@ksdk.com. All calls and correspondence will be kept confidential.
A live look now at the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. We're less than 2 hours away from liftoff of the Artemis 1 mission, if it goes. After 2 scrub launch attempts and 2 hurricanes, NASA is ready to try again. The unmanned mission is the launching point to get a man back on the moon. That could happen within the next 2 or 3 years.
And good weather down in Florida. Here in St. Louis, many of us waking up to snow. Some people got 1 to 2 inches, mostly just in the grassy areas, and most of it melted by, well, lunchtime, sometime in the afternoon. The snow may have melted, but that November chill is sticking around. It is just kind of bone-chilling cold for mid-November.
Yeah, you know, your Weather First team's been tracking this cold air for some time, and it looks like it's sticking with us for several more days. But you got to admit, this was a pretty good snow for St. Louis, because for those that have to deal with it and try to drive in it, it didn't cause a lot of big problems around the area, mostly on the grassy surfaces, elevated surfaces. And with the clouds still hanging around tonight, temperatures are still holding above freezing, which is good news, because those temperatures still above freezing, continuing to allow some of the residual moisture to kind of dry up across the area. Looking out at Lambert right now, we have 36 degrees as our current temperature. We're still stuck with the clouds. It's still kind of murky, but we do think the clouds will start breaking up some as we head towards daybreak. Got a pretty good breeze out of the west-northwest right now at 14 miles per hour, only 40 for the high. We had 0.8 of an inch of snow officially at Lambert early this morning. And of course, it's all melted at this point. Mid to upper 20s for your overnight lows. Really, the focus is to our north here as we head through the rest of the week into the weekend, especially lake effect snow, but there is more cold air up to the north that's going to surge our way. So we're going to be stuck in this rather cold period here through the rest of the week. Now, tomorrow, while we'll start with some sunshine, another disturbance sweeps in, especially to our north, probably kicks off a couple of snow flurries here and there. More likely you would see that as you head up towards Jerseyville and Root House, up towards Litchfield and Carlinville, but then that pushes out. Skies should clear out tomorrow night, and it's cold once again. Next 5 days, you know, our average highs in the low to mid 50s this time of year. Friday, we're struggling to get to 30 degrees, and we're in the 30s for highs for the upcoming weekend as well. So just kind of breaking it down here, your weather headlines, cold is going to last into the weekend. A few flurries possible tomorrow, but it's mainly dry through Monday, and then we're turning our attention to Thanksgiving. It's next Thursday, right around the corner, and Wednesday being a big travel day, thought we should start looking at what's coming at us here from the southwest. There is moisture, but the temperature trends going into next week show that temperatures will be warmer, and we expect this to be rain. You don't see snow shaded on here. We're just painting green. Mostly looks like it would be light around St. Louis, but picking up in intensity on Thanksgiving Day, heading down towards Memphis, all the way down towards New Orleans. So if you're traveling on Wednesday, you would really have to go much farther down 44 to really run into any rain. We're talking past Oklahoma City. So it's a cold pattern until we get to next week. In fact, Saturday and Sunday morning temperatures will be in the teens, even in town. The next week, we're back above 50 degrees as we head towards Monday and Tuesday. Now, with this cold weather pushing back in across the area and sticking with us through the weekend, it's kind of come on us quickly. Our friends over at Heat Up St. Louis, they are doing wonderful things, and they could use your help to help keep especially our seniors safely warm this winter. You can go to heatupstlouis.org.
A good reminder. Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike, the Billikens are in a big-time game against Memphis. The Battle Hawks drafted a quarterback with a big name and another big honor for the St. Louis Cardinals. It's only November, but making the NCAA tournament is kind of like accumulating wealth. If you start saving or winning earlier, it's going to be a whole lot easier later. If SLU can beat Memphis tonight, that builds their NCAA resume, and that's all that matters. And nobody knows that better than Travis Ford, who's had some disappointing selection Sundays lately. At 6 p.m., we saw Gibson Jimerson practicing threes. It paid off 6-0 SLU early. Why does Travis call Yuri Collins the best point guard of the country? Well, he can spot Javon Pickett right there. Pickett has 14 points tonight. This is even better. Yuri to his roommate. Collins had 9 assists, 20 points. Jimerson has 17 points. Sincere Parker scored more points than any junior college player in the country last year. He was fearless tonight. The bench was great all game long for the Billikens, and so was the crowd. The place was electric for 2 solid hours. Late, Memphis got dirty. Jonathan Lawson hammers Jake Forster in the face. It's a flagrant 2. Lawson was kicked out of the game because of that foul. And a little bit later, it's going to be Kendrick Davis for Memphis, cutting the lead to 87-84. That's where it stands right now with seconds to go. SLU leading that game. All right, so now Dennis Gates and Mizzou hosting SIU Edwardsville tonight. And this Demoy Hodge came from Cleveland State, and he came out flying there. Isaiah Mosley averaged 20 last year at Mo State. Here's why. Good-looking shooter, a little fadeaway there. Looked like Bird. Mizzou was flying. Hodge for 2 of his team-high 30 right there. And Mizzou scores the most points since 2009. They're now 4-0 after a 105-80 victory. So the baseball winter meetings will be in San Diego on December 4th. They never have those in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, you know? They had the GM meetings already. That's like the dating phase. The winter meetings is when you get serious, and hopefully we'll engage with Trey Turner then. And Turner would be joining a great defense because today, how about this? The Cardinals won the National League Team Gold Glove Award for the 2nd consecutive year. The Birds had the best team fielding percentage in baseball and the fewest errors. Hey, the Battle Hawks drafted 2 quarterbacks today, and one is pretty famous, A.J. McCarron. He spent 8 years in the National Football League, and he also won a staggering 3 national championships at Alabama. Welcome to the Battle Hawks, A.J.
I'm excited for a city that, you know, loves football, has passion about football. You're getting somebody that competes their ass off and has a lot of a passion for the game too, and I want to win more than anything.
And the Billikens lead it 88-84 with seconds to go. Hold on, baby.
Down to the wire.
Yep.
All right, Frank, thanks.
We are less than 24 hours away from the first match at City Park. A new low-calorie ale being brewed for match day. Amazon is more than a place to shop. The e-commerce giant launched a new 24/7 virtual healthcare clinic today. Amazon Clinic connects users to healthcare professionals to treat common conditions like allergies, sinusitis, and migraines. Taylor Swift fans crashed Ticketmaster's website today. Swifties flooded the site to get tickets to the singer's Eras tour. Ticketmaster says there has been unprecedented demand. The tour will not stop in St. Louis, but Swift will perform this summer in Chicago and Kansas City.
2 St. Louis breweries are teaming up for a new ale in celebration of our city's new MLS team. Schlafly and Wellbeing Brewing are releasing Match Day Light. It's a 35-calorie, non-alcoholic brew. A first tasting will take place tomorrow afternoon at the Schlafly Tap Room ahead of the first game at City Park. That's the match day launch. It will officially launch on Friday. And should we go for Scott for one more weather update? Scott?
Yeah, there you go. I guess. Maybe.
Maybe not. Okay. It's going to be cold. There you have.
You're going to do his job.
Well, I guess so. We're running out of time. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
He's got Seth Rogen and Jeremy Pope. Have a great tomorrow.